Miles City. Thanks for watching us this morning or coming. I'm Dre, and this is Maya.
Hey, guys. Good morning.
And maybe you were just scrolling by and casually looking for cat videos or food recipes, and you found us. Well, we hope that you'll stick around. We're glad that you are watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we really believe that in the next 20, 25 minutes, you might hear something that is just for you today. So we definitely want to invite you to stick around.
Absolutely. And for you, of course. For you kids that are in the room that you're watching, we just want to encourage you to hang on after this, because after this is something that's designed specifically for you. Music that's for you, a message that's for you, games that are for you. So make sure you hang on for that, because that's just for you. But if you can't, you got to go. Remember, milescity.com/KidCity, because Kid City is on demand. You can watch it anywhere you want, however many times you want. So make sure you hang on after this for that.
If you are out there and you're watching this for the very first time, then we want to invite you to fill out our online Connect card. And it's really great. It kind of has these two benefits that, we're big fans of.
Yeah, really
big fans. We
get
to connect with you as a first timer and just kind of answer any questions that you might have or give you any more information about Miles City, who we are. It's great. We're not going to spam you, we promise.
We won't spam you. Are you sure we won't?
No, we really won't.
All right.
But what's awesome is that we do get to connect with you. You might even hear from me or from Maya.
Absolutely. I'll look forward to it.
And it's great. It's awesome. But we are able to give $5 on your behalf to a local food bank, which is one of my favorite things about this. So if you're interested, please text iConnect to 94,000. And it's really easy. You'll just follow the prompts on the screen.
Well, speaking of connecting, this last Friday, we got to connect with all of our crew and leaders in the church for our crew party.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. It's actually one of our favorite times of the whole year, because we get to celebrate those who helped build the church. And so it was such a good night of hanging out with them, having fun, laughing. We also got to give away our Miley Awards.
Was Miley Cyrus there?
No, not Miley Cyrus Awards, Miley Awards.
Okay.
The Miley Awards are awards that we give away for our 5 key virtues that we have here at Miles City: contagious joy, audacious care, tenacious teachability, extra mile, and seethe and serve. And so we award a Miley Award for each of those categories to a certain person. And so it was so fun to celebrate them and just love on them and just tell them thanks for all they do.
Yeah, they do so much.
They really do.
Awesome.
Yeah. If you're, for those of you watching, maybe you're wondering how you can be part of the crew. Well, it's really easy. All you have to do is text iConnect to 94,000. We'll reach out to you and tell you how you can be part of the crew here at Miles City. Cool. Well, we are in our new series, Explore, and it's about discovering your faith. And so we're so excited to begin this new series, because it's so cool to just be able to dive deeper in what our faith looks. What are you doing?
It's our Explore series. I'm ready to go.
Well, it's not like exploring like spelunking or tent camping.
Oh.
It's just diving deeper in our faith, exploring our faith, discovering it. Cool?
Cool.
Well, thanks for bringing that. I really appreciate that. It looks cool. Right. So Explore. And so we're so excited to kick off this new series. Another new thing that we're kicking off that Travis will talk more about is this book right here, Foundations. And so we're so excited to unveil that as well. So can't wait for that. Travis, take it away.
Well, is anyone excited to go on a little adventure today? I'm so glad that you are joining us here online as we kick off this new series entitled Explore. And there's so many different things to explore and discover in our world, but one of the first things when I think about explore, when I think about exploration, is the depths of the ocean. The depths of the creepy ocean, that is. When I think about the ocean, I just want to be frank, I'm okay to go hang out at the beach and I'll get in the water, but if it's going over my shoulders, if I can't touch, I'm scared to death, because all I'm thinking about and hearing is the soundtrack coming through my ears of this right here. Okay, right? That's why I'm thankful to be a Michigander. I'll take the Great Lakes, I'll take the cold any day over Jaws, okay? I would rather take the cold over Jaws any day. I remember I was on my honeymoon with Jem. We were in St. Lucia, and we were snorkeling. And I was trying to keep my cool, it's like people do that. So I'm out there snorkeling, and I'm trying to keep up with Jen, trying to keep up with the instructor. And we were out there just, it's beautiful, the mysteries of the ocean. That's not me, by the way, but I'm out there, just exploring. And even though I was scared to death, there was this curiosity in me that wanted to keep going deeper, that wanted more because I was seeing things that I've never seen before. I was exploring things that I've never experienced before, and I just wanted, and it was the pressure, of being down there for too long, which would take me back up to the surface, or I needed more air, but I just kind of wanted to keep diving in more and more and more, even though I was scared of being in the ocean. When it comes to being in the ocean and divers that are just free divers that don't have any breathing apparatuses, a normal diver says, it's about 20 feet that a normal diver can dive in the ocean or in water. Now, if you're trained, they say anywhere from like 40 to 60 feet is kind of what trained free divers do. But I wanted to share with you, I looked this up, the person that holds the world record for a no-limits free dive, there's many different types of diving out there, but a no-limits free dive using weights to help them sink down, but no breathing apparatus is attached to them, is this guy right here, Herbert Nitsch, okay? This guy holds the record at 702 feet, holding his breath for just under 9 minutes. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's unbelievable. 702 feet, he dives down in there without any assistance, without any breathing apparatus help. 702 feet. The average person can hold their breath for maybe like 1 or 2 minutes. I mean, that's it, 1 or 2 minutes. And I know probably for the rest of the talk now, I'm going to lose you because you're going to be seeing how long you can hold your breath. So just don't pass out on me, okay? Don't pass out on me. Now, for these divers to do what they're doing, they just can't do that. You can't just go to the depths. Like if I try to do that or you try to do that, we die, okay? It takes specific training. It takes specific assistance. It takes tools. It takes mental, physical training to do that type of diving. Now, I bring that up because when we talk about the depths of the ocean, we talk about diving into the depths of the ocean, it's very similar when it comes to us diving in and exploring more of our faith. Because come on, right? If we're honest, whether we're a Jesus follower or not a Jesus follower or not, all of us, right, we have this thing inside of us, if we can get there mentally, of, what is life all about? What's the purpose? Is there a God? How was he created? Why did he create us? What's after this? And what the unknown and all the different mysteries of God makes us want to explore more and want to have more depth. And then just like a diver, a trained diver, if you want to have more depth, you need assistance, you need training, you need some tools, you need physical, spiritual, and mental focus to stay in the depths. And so here's the goal. Here's the goal today. My goal today, our goal today, is for us to dive in. Is for us to get deeper. Is for us to figure out what it looks like for us to get deeper in our faith, to explore more, and what potentially keeps us from going deep. What keeps us in the shallow end? What keeps us all in the kiddie pool when we're supposed to be diving deeper? But before we dive in, pun intended, let me pray for you and pray for me. Father, I ask right now, you've drawn us together right now online, and I just ask that you would just help us not to miss what you'd have for us, help us to be alert, help us to clear the distractions as we look at what it means to have more depth, to explore more of you in our lives. And so, Father, control my mind, control my speech as I communicate. I pray this in the power of your Son's name, Jesus. Amen. Amen. Well, as we set the stage today, one of the things I just want to clear up is the word deeper. The word deeper. When we first started Miles City Church, I've always stayed away from the word deeper. And the reason is because many of us have a different definition of what deeper means. And so I want to get us all on the same page. So before we talk about what deeper is, let's talk about what going deeper is not, okay? Here's what I want us to understand, is getting deeper is more than just getting intellectual. Getting deeper is more than just getting intellectual. Now, hear me clearly. Going deeper has to do with knowledge as well. There is intellect involved. It is important to pick up the scriptures and know more and more and more. But if it just stops there, if it's just all about the intellect, that's a problem. That really doesn't show depth in someone's life if all they have is knowledge. 1 Corinthians, in 1 Corinthians 8, it says the idea of how knowledge puffs up. It can become prideful. And so we have to be very careful that we don't get confused that knowledge is all what it means to be deeper. If you're going to have intellectual, if you're going to get more intellectual, it must always equate to getting more spiritual. Let me say that again. If you're going to get more intellectual, it must equate getting more spiritual, meaning that you're going to be falling in love more with God. Getting more intellectual should also equate getting more relational, that you are loving people more than you've ever loved people before. Getting more intellectual should also equate to being more emotional, meaning you're understanding yourself, your strength and your weaknesses, and have an awareness of your emotions. Getting more intellectual should also equate to getting more applicable, meaning putting the things that we've learned into action. I mean, if it's all about the knowledge, if it's all about the intellect, that's not going to equate the depth. I mean, I went to Bible school. I've got a master's degree in biblical studies. I've got it hanging on a wall. But if that's all I've got hanging on the wall and there's no other fruit, well, that doesn't really show depth. So what does it mean to have more spiritual depth? What does it mean for our faith to have more depth? And here it is. It's this. It's getting deeper is looking more like Jesus. And I know maybe some of you are thinking, well, that's simple. It is. The statement is simple, but it's actually very difficult to do. Getting deeper is actually looking more like Jesus. Getting deeper is simply looking more like Jesus. When Jesus ascended into heaven, before he left this earth, he looked at his disciples and he says, go therefore and make not Bible scholars, go therefore and make disciples. Make disciples. What is a disciple? A disciple is a follower of that teacher, is a follower of that individual that mimics and imitates them in the way that they lived. And so getting to be a disciple of Christ is getting deeper. Having more depth in your faith is getting deeper, is looking more like Jesus. And so how do we look more like Jesus? We have to lay a foundation. And here at Miles City, we believe that this is a great foundation for us to look more like Jesus. We strive to have more development, we strive to have more discipline, and we strive to have more devotion in our lives. If we lay that foundation, that groundwork in our lives, then we will have more depth in our faith. So let's look at these three things: development, discipline, and devotion. Let's start with the idea of development. To look more like Jesus, we're going to have to strive to have more development in our lives. But it's really easy for us not to do this. It's really easy for us to stay shallow and not have depth in development. What's development? What do we mean by development? Development is the idea of surrounding ourselves with other people, just surrounding ourselves, allowing people in to invest in us and coach us. I mean, think about it. The greatest athletes in the world, I mean, they didn't get there on their own. They had great coaches and family members or peers in their lives that help them with their game so that they are as good as they are. I mean, you think about a doctor. You don't want your doctor, your surgeon coming out of the classroom right into your operating room, right? You want them going through a residency, an apprenticeship before they're going to actually work on you. It's the same concept. The Proverbs says this famous verse of, as iron sharpens iron, so shall a friend sharpen a friend. We need each other. We need to surround ourselves with people. However, what keeps us in the shallow end when it comes to our development is maybe fear. We're afraid to let people in. Maybe it's past hurt, or it's just pride. We just don't want to let people in. And so we close people off. And if you want more depth, you got to have more development. You got to surround yourself with the community of the church. Hebrews 10:25 says this, and let us not neglect our meeting together, as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near. And think about when he wrote that now, and think about it today. It's drawing near even more. But it's so easy for us to neglect the gathering of the church, of what you're doing right now. And maybe for some of you as you're watching, maybe you haven't tuned in a while, and if you're honest, it's like you're feeling like, yeah, I've kind of been neglecting this, and maybe you're feeling a little, guilty about that. And listen, like, don't feel guilty, but use that feeling to say, yes, I need to engage. Don't give up. And I know, I get it. It's a weird time, the pandemic, all this stuff. Online church can be weird. Virtual city groups can be weird, but it's worth it. It's so important. If we stop development, if we stop surrounding our people, if we think, well, we don't need to learn from anyone else, you're not going to have depth. Your depth is going to hit a ceiling. You're going to rise back up to the surface. And so it's so important to not neglect it, to not give up on it. You want to have more depth. You want to go deeper. Then fight for community. Fight to be a part of the local church. Show up, get engaged, serve, get into your city group, get into a coaching group. I'm so excited at the end of this service, so tune in, don't check out. We're going to be talking about our coaching groups. At Miles City, we've always talked about coaching, but we're getting more specific in what that looks like for us. Coaching groups of 2 to 4, gender specific, meeting regularly twice a month to challenge one another in their walks. And it's the idea of who's investing in you and who are you investing in? Are you allowing someone to help invest in you and pour themselves into you, and vice versa? And so you're going to be challenged today to hey, I need to be coached. I need to get into one of these coaching groups. Or maybe you're someone that needs to coach. And maybe when I say that, you're looking behind the couch. He's definitely not talking to me. You might feel like not qualified or inadequate or intimidated by that question. I remember a couple years ago, my son's baseball coach came to me and said, hey, Travis, I want you to be the assistant coach for the team. Would you be willing to be one of the assistant coaches? And I was like, same thing. You're asking me? I don't know nothing about baseball. I mean, I'm unworthy to do that. I'm inadequate. I don't know what I'm doing. And he pushed me. He says, no, you can do this. I'll show you. You can do this. And did I show up like as the best coach in the world and know everything? No. But I learned, and I talk about getting more depth in baseball knowledge. It ramped it up for me. It accelerated my growth. It helped me get deeper to understand the game. And it was a great experience for me. And I'm so glad I did it, to be able to help these boys in their game and to encourage them. It's something that I'm so thankful that I took the risk and made that leap of faith to be a coach. And for some of you right now that might think, well, I just feel inadequate, or I'm not worthy, or I don't know enough. Actually, if you're feeling those feelings, you're actually the right candidate to be a coach. Why? That's a signal that you should be a coach, because no one wants a coach that thinks they know it all. No one wants the coach that has all the answers. People want a coach that's real and authentic and is just striving for more depth in their life. So you want to have more depth? You want to have more depth? Don't neglect the gathering. Engage. Lean into the local church, the gift that God has given us. Not only do we need more development to look more like Jesus, to have more depth in our faith, but we need to have more discipline. The idea of having more discipline in our lives. Now, really want to talk about this because there's a difference between legalism and discipline. For so long, our culture has kind of pushed away from legalism. Like, I don't want to be legalistic. But the problem is we push so far from legalism that we've abandoned the idea of having healthy disciplines in our lives. Legalism is committing to something you feel forced to do. Discipline is committing to do something you feel drawn to do. Remember, legalism is committing to do something you feel forced to do. You should do this, you better do this. Discipline is committing to something you feel drawn to, that the Spirit of the living God is moving you towards and pushing you towards. So important to know the difference. But a lot of times we don't have depth in our discipline, and we stay shallow, we stay in the kiddie pool because of lack of self-control, because of our unholiness, our ungodliness, the idea of us going our way instead of God's way. And it makes sense. This isn't easy. This is difficult to look more like Jesus. Why? Because we have the pressure of the course and the current of the world, and we're literally going in a different direction. Ephesians 2:2 says this. It says, "And you were dead in the trespasses and sins in which you once walked, following the course of this world, following the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that is now at work in the sons of disobedience." I remember years ago when my son Tristan was 3, we were in the airport, and he was infatuated with the People Mover. He just wanted to ride the People Mover over and over and over again. And as we were waiting for the flight, we just kept riding it and riding it. And so we're going down the People Mover, and I get off the People Mover, and he was right behind me. And then I turn around and I realize he's darting the other way on the People Mover, moving into people. People are moving around and moving their suitcases. And I started heading in that direction against the current of the People Mover as well. And then I realized, oh, wait a second. I don't need to fight for that. And I stepped back and I just waited. And sure enough, with his little mischievous 3-year-old face, started coming right back in the direction of the People Mover. Why? Because that People Mover, that current, he couldn't stand against all the people heading in that direction. And it's the same way. We have this pressure of going uphill, upstream against the course and the current of the world. When you think about the divers being, way down deep in the ocean, it's like that pressure that's keeping you there. And the enemy wants us to just get out of the depth and just bring us back to the surface and just chill up on the surface, just kind of surfs up and just let our lives just be with the world and just kind of exist our lives away. It's an interesting thing. Like he can distract us sometimes, not even by all these crazy things. He can literally distract you and me by just existing our lives away. Are you allowing the enemy to just exist your life away? If you want more depth, you have to strive to have more discipline in going God's way instead of the world's way. So not only to look more like Jesus, do we need to strive to have more development surrounding people around us and having more discipline, but we also need to strive to have more devotion in our lives. The idea of striving to have more devotion. And a lot of times we don't have depth in our devotion, well, because it's just flat out apathy, flat out laziness, not putting the effort in, expecting someone else to do it for us, or us to just automatically be in the depths and having depth without putting any work or effort in. And then over time, what happens is that we start blaming and pointing the finger. We start blaming God because it's like, I'm not feeling anything, it's not working, I'm not feeling the depth, and then we start blaming God, or we're blaming other people, we're blaming the church, it's not deep enough, and we're pointing the finger, when really, it's because of our lack of devotion. And what we're putting into it is lacking, and we're just chilling in the kiddie pool instead of going deep. Well, let's read what it says here from the writer of Hebrews. It's bold, but let's read this together. It says, "About this, we have much to say, and it is hard to explain, since you have become dull of hearing. For though by this time you ought to be teachers, you need someone to teach you again the basic principles of the oracles of God." It continues. It says that you need milk, not solid food, for everyone who lives on milk is unskilled in the word of righteousness, since he is a child. But solid food is for the mature, for those who have their powers of discernment trained by constant practice to distinguish good from evil. It says you need milk, not solid food. Does this look funny? Does this kind of look ridiculous? I know this looks completely foolish and ridiculous. But I do this because it brings up the point that some of you've been just sucking on the bottle for way too long. You have no depth because you're just like a newborn baby still, just literally sucking on the bottle. And then, like I said earlier, just pointing and blaming everyone else, and you're wondering, well, why don't I have any depth? But yet you're just on the bottle. And it's so important, and hear me clearly. I'm mocking the baby bottle. I'm not mocking the milk, because the milk is good. The milk in the analogy tastes great. It's a gift that God gives us, whether you're a believer for one day or thousands of days. But there's a pastor named Francis Chan who used this as an analogy of the baby bottle. But I want to take it a step further. I want to take it a step further because there's so much more than just the milk. That's what he's talking about. There's so much more than just the milk. Waiter. Ooh, yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Well, thank you so much. You want a sip of this?
No.
You sure?
No.
You sure?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
You want some Mitchell's steak, like perfectly made? You want some of that?
Yes, I
Okay.
would.
Well, maybe a little bit later. Okay. Maybe a little bit later. Okay. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Thank you. From milk to a Mitchell's perfectly prepared steak. This is what we have the ability and the gift to dive into on our own. And I'm making some of you jealous. I mean, look at this. This is good. This is good. That's real good. That's real good. At Miles City, every Sunday, we prepare a meal. We prepare a meal, and we try our best to prepare a balanced meal. And there's going to be some milk, and there's going to be some meat. And we're always going to be a place where we balance the milk and the meat. We're never going to be a church where we're literally cutting in the meat so deep, and I'm going to be up here on the screen for 45 minutes parsing Greek and Hebrew. I could do that. I could bring out the Strong's Concordance. I have the abilities to do that. In fact, it'd be a lot easier. It'd probably take me an hour to prepare instead of 10 hours for a normal message. But we're not going to do that because we're not going to alienate everyone else. But we're also not just going to have milk. We're not just going to keep it like self-help surfy stuff all the time. We want to do our best to have a combo of a great meal. But here's the point that I wanted to make, and I hope I have your attention. The point that I'm trying to make is that if you think that coming here online once a week for your spiritual food, if you think that is going to bring you depth, and that's the only meal that you eat in a week, you're going to starve. You're going to be weak. You're going to be hungry. You're going to be hangry. You're going to start complaining and again pointing the finger and saying, it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough, it's not enough. Hear me. Everyone, no matter where you're at on your journey, is capable of feeding themselves. You can't expect me or any other pastor or teacher to come and feed you. You want some, or you can feed yourself. You're so capable of it. You want to go deeper? You want to have more depth? It's looking more like Jesus. And to look more like Jesus, you lay the foundation of having more development surrounding people around you and leaning into the local church. It's striving to have discipline in your life of going His way. And remember, the more that you go His way, the more pressure you're going to feel, the more deeper you get. And to hang in there as you face the pressures of the world and to fight. To have more devotion and to feed yourself the milk and the meat. Now, for some of you, as you're watching this, you've never had a sip. You've never partaken taken, you've never have partaken of the meat that God offers you. The psalmist writes in Psalm 34:8, it says, taste and see that the Lord is good. It's good. Blessed is the one who takes refuge in him. When you taste, when you get to the point and you taste, you will see that he is nourishing, that he is satisfying, that he brings healing, that he brings freedom and victory in your life, not only here on earth, but for your eternity. But before you can taste, you have to be willing to receive what he has done for you, and it's free. What did he do for you? 2,000 years ago, God loved you so much that he didn't want to be separated from you, because you and I have been separated from God. Why? Because you have fallen short, I've fallen short, we've all fallen short because of our sin. And it separated us from him. And so he had to make a decision, and he made a decision specifically for you, and he made a specific decision for me. He had to make a decision. Am I going to be eternally separated for Travis Whitaker? Or am I going to die for Travis Whitaker to pay for his sins so he doesn't have to, and then conquer it and rise from the dead 3 days later? And the decision he made was to die for me. And the decision he made was to die for you so that you wouldn't be separated from him. And the scriptures say it very clearly that all who call upon the name of the Lord, put their faith and trust in him, will be saved. Have you tasted? Have you received Jesus? You're missing out. You're missing out. And so if you want to receive Jesus and begin to see what he has for you in your life, I want to give you that opportunity right now. So wherever you're watching, wherever you're at, I want you to just close your eyes to get your focus, and then just in a real, authentic way, I'll give you like a guideline prayer. I just want you to repeat these words to him and mean them from your heart. Just say, Father, here I am. I want more of you. I want to taste and see what you're all about. I want to dive in. And so right now I confess my sins to you. I believe that you died for my sin and you rose again. Thank you. Just thank him for that. Right now, I lower my pride and I surrender my life to you. I receive you, Jesus, into my life. Now, as you continue to pray, I want you to know that it's so clear that the scriptures say that you will no longer perish, but you will have everlasting life. Everlasting life. Well, listen, if you truly made that decision where you said, yeah, I'm in, I want to dive into a relationship with Jesus, then we really want to encourage you, just like we talked about, don't walk alone. Dive into development. And so a way to do that is to connect with us, and so that we can celebrate with you and answer the questions that I'm sure you have. And so you can just text the word My Faith to the number that you'll see on the screen. Just text the word My Faith, and we cannot wait to talk to you and celebrate with you this move that you've made in your life. Now, as I promised earlier, we wanted to share with you specifically what we're so excited about us diving into these coaching groups virtually and in person. And so as you're watching online, you have a chance to really lean into this idea of building that foundation of development, of discipline, and devotion. And so I'm going to throw it over to Maya and Andrea, and they're going to share with you how you can get connected into a coaching group. Take it away.
Well, as Travis talked about in his message, coaching is so important, and there's never a better time here at Mount City than now to get involved in a coaching relationship. And so we've mapped all of it out for you. We have the book Foundations, and it maps out the reading content you'll have, the scripture memory you're going to have. And we also have a coaching roundabout that maps out your time. So it shows how you can be intentional with your time and focus with those who are in your coaching group.
Now, for those who are watching, I think maybe their question could easily come up, how long does this coaching relationship last?
Yeah, that's a great question. The coaching relationship will last 1 year, and you guys will meet twice a month. So there's 714 hours a month, and that's just 2 hours out of the whole month that you will meet to have this intentional, focused time of spiritual growth.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then what would meeting look like?
Well, as we referenced the coaching roundabout earlier, you can see it on your screen. Those are the 5 areas that you're going to go through in the hour that you're together. So having a time of just catching up with one another, going through some of the scripture memory, going through what you read, having a time of accountability, and then also having time where you can pray together. And so it's a really great time and a really focused hour that you're together.
All right.
Yeah.
And then last question, because anyone out there might be hearing this and really loving that, but do they have to be a professional coach?
That's a great question. The answer is absolutely not. There are no professional Christians, and there are professional coaches in some areas, but this is not where you need to be professional. Basically, all you have to have is this willingness to want more and to grow deeper in your faith. So it's a come at any level that you're at, and just get in this coaching relationship so you can have a deeper, more intense, focused relationship with God. So we hope that you get connected. All you have to do to find out more and to get connected in the coaching group is text the word coaching to 94,000 and follow the prompts from there. And one of us will get a hold of you and walk you through getting involved in either being a coach or being coached in this new coaching relationship. So we hope that you take advantage of that. We just want to say thank you so much for joining us today, for taking a chance on us, especially as we launch our new series, Explore, and as we map out what it looks like to be part of a coaching relationship here at Miles City.
You said mapping a lot. Are you sure we're not going hiking?
We're definitely still not going hiking, but camping is fun, so maybe take a chance, go on a camp trip. Kid City, you're up next.
Well, good morning, Kid City. We are so excited that you decided to join us here in Kid City. And, it has been a really big week, Ryan. I mean, a big week. There were so many things going on, like there was National Rubber Ducky Day. Did you know that?
I did not.
And there was National Sticker Day, too.
What? I love stickers. And wasn't this week National Strawberry Ice Cream Day?
It was! And National Dress Your Pet Day was this week.
Oh, man.
And that reminds me, that's your challenge for this week. You guys have some awesome pets. Put something fun or silly, dress them up, send some pictures in to us at kids@milescity.com, or you can post and tag us on our social media. I mean, it has been a really fun week. You have not missed out on all the fun.
Man, that all seems like such a good time, but what's going on with all this game stuff?
Okay, so seriously, we've had so much fun the first couple of weeks in Kid City with our series Rules for Life, where we've learned some really awesome rules God has in the Bible, like love God, love other people, share what you have. I mean, some great stuff. We've been learning all about responsibility, which responsibility is showing others that you can be trusted with what's expected of you. I think the Bible even talks some about the responsibility, doesn't it?
Yes, there's actually the verse, our memory verse that we've been learning, which is, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much.
I love that verse. And parents at home, you're welcome, because this is a great verse to learn as a family. You know, God really has given us lots of responsibilities to follow him, to love him with all of our heart and soul and mind, and to learn more by reading the Bible. Today, we have a really awesome lesson that Ryan's going to teach us. So I hope you go grab those Bibles, take a seat, and get ready to learn.
Dear God, thank you for Boz. He was the only thing I wanted for Christmas. And when he came into the room with a bow on him, it was the best day of my life. Mom said that the only reason we got Boz is because I promised to take care of him. And I did for the first few weeks, in all kinds of weather. But when school started up again, well, it wasn't easy. And well, sometimes I forgot. I'm not going to write it because, well, you know, it's just a lot tougher to take him for walks every single day. I wasn't doing what Mom trusted me to do. Then she helped me make a chart. It really helps to see what gets checked off every single day. I know I can do this. Boz is a great dog. God, thanks for helping me and Boz do this together. Uh-oh, gotta go. Read.
Hey guys, I'm so excited to be here today. And the fact that it's January, it's the new year, 2021. And when it went from 2020 to 2021, people started making their New Year's resolutions. And the thing about those is they tried to set a goal. Maybe you guys have made some yourself, or you know your parents have done it. And what I did was I got some information that was taken from Google. They researched what were some of the top resolutions that were made for 2021, and we're going to look at them. I'm going to see. I wonder if you guys could guess what some of the top ones are. Take a second. What do you think some of the biggest goals were set? Well, the fourth most biggest goal that was set this year for the New Year's resolution was learn a new skill or hobby. Because I'm guessing that people felt like maybe they didn't do much new stuff in the last year. And so now with this year, they want to try, I don't know, just something new, something exciting to do new. Maybe make a paper airplane, like the best paper airplane they've ever made. Or maybe they thought about trying a new sport or learning how to do like gymnastics or a new instrument, whatever it is. But that was the fourth one. Now, the third one was get organized. The goal to get organized. Now, you guys can relate with this. If there is so much mess in your room, clothes and toys all around that you can't even find your pet hamster, you might have a problem with getting organized. And it seems like a lot of people around the world have that same problem, so they wanted to get organized. Now, number 2, it was lose weight. Now, I bet a lot of you guys are like, I don't have a problem with that. But as you get older, when the holidays pass, before the year changes, you got Thanksgiving and Christmas, and when you have family with birthdays and stuff, we tend to eat a lot, and because it's cold, we stay inside, and sometimes we gain weight. So I'm guessing a lot of people are thinking about losing weight in the new year, which actually ties into the most popular one. I wonder if you guys can guess. The most biggest request, the goal that was set was exercise more. And the cool thing about exercise, and it's not just about losing weight, but a lot of people want to exercise more because you get healthier, you get in shape, you find yourself being more productive because you get more energy. Now, what's crazy to think about is these goals that are made, these New Year's resolutions. I want you to guess real quick, how much do you think are actually in success? What percentage do you think people actually reach their goals? The answer is 8%. Only 8% of people actually reach their goals with these resolutions that they make. And do you know why? To summarize it all up in 3 words, it is hard. It's hard. It's really hard to reach goals. And sometimes not even just goals like getting organized or exercising, but there's a lot of things in our life that is very hard work. It takes very much hard work to accomplish. And sometimes, and there's people that even feel that it's hard work to follow God. But I want to let you guys know it's okay. It's okay that it's hard work. I actually have great news to share with you today. And that's actually to talk about the Bible and how it tells us a lot of things to help us get through the hard work and the hard times by following God. And to do things that take hard work in our lives more and more every day. And we're going to look at that. But before we look at the scripture today, I want to tell you a little bit of a background of like the story. See, maybe you guys know David, King David. Maybe you guys are familiar with the David that defeated Goliath, the giant. Well, that King David had a son named Solomon. And Solomon became king at a very, very young age. And so when he became king, God came to him and asked him, what could I do for you? And he said, well, what could you do for me? He's like, yeah, I want to give you something. And he could have picked money. He could have picked the nicest cars. Well, at that time, it would have been the nicest horses. He could have picked anything he wanted. And what he asked for was wisdom. God was so happy that the new king, that Solomon wanted wisdom, that he gave him wisdom and so much more. And through that, the king now, Solomon, was known for being one of the wisest men to ever be on earth. And so through his wisdom, he would write for us. He would write these words of wisdom, ways to live life better, and it would help us get through stuff like hard work. And in those writings, we can find those in the Bible under Proverbs. And so we're going to look at one of those Proverbs today. Let's turn and look at Proverbs 6, verse 6 through 8. It says, take a lesson from the ants, you lazy bones. Lazy bones, like, come on. We've all been lazy bones, right? I've been lazy before. Take a lesson from the ants, you lazy bones. Learn from their ways and become wise. Though they have no prince or governor or ruler to make them work, they labor hard all summer, gathering food for the winter. He's telling us to be wise. We should learn. We should take a lesson from the ants. And ants, man, there's so much cool stuff. But I would just like to show you a video to give you some of the cool things ants do and how wise they are. Check it out.
We developed plows and shovels. Ants use their own bodies. Their mandibles are shears that cut through leaves with incredible efficiency. The ants drink the sap in the leaves for energy, but they don't eat them. Remember, they're farming here. They're using the leaves to grow something else. But first, they have to haul the gigantic leaf pieces away. This is no small matter. For a human, it would be like carrying more than 600 pounds between our teeth. Then, they clean the leaves. They crush them. Cut them into little pieces. Arrange them carefully in stacks. They even compost the leaves with a little of their own poop. They spread spores around like seeds. Over time, a fungus grows. And this highly nutritious fungus, that's what the ants are after.
Man, isn't that crazy? Look at all the things that the ants do, the wisdom that they have of how they provide. And like we saw in Proverbs, that they prepare in the summer so they can even have food in the winter when the food is scarce. And the way they prepare the food and how they work so hard that they actually carry stuff that weighs way more than even their own weight. But one of my favorite things that I noticed while watching that video is that the ants, when they were doing all the hard work, I barely ever saw one ant by himself. When the ant was working hard, they were working all together. And that's so cool how the ants do that to work through the hard stuff, to work hard. And I think that through that, maybe we could think about, well, the way the ants just do their stuff and how wise they are and how they can work hard, maybe we can think about how we could work hard in certain situations. Maybe we could work hard when we have schoolwork. I think there's lazy bones, right? The lazy bone person that would probably sit there and be like, I did my homework. But then there's someone that actually studies and tries their hardest, and they actually learn and educate themselves and get smarter by doing their homework the right way, being wise. Or how about preparing for a sport game? Can you imagine the lazy bones that sit around and don't do anything, and they show up and they play, and then maybe they lose because they weren't that good, compared to the person that practices, and not only practices by himself, but practices with the team? Can you imagine if he or she is going to play a sport game and they practice with their team and they go, and now they're equipped and they're ready to work hard and try to win? There's a lot better difference in that. Trying. Or how about this? Let's try scenario 3. Cleaning up your house, keeping your room clean, so then you're available to hang out with your friends. I think some lazy bones type people might not keep the room clean. When they want to go do something, they get upset when their parents say, hey, you got to clean your room up first before you hang out. But can you imagine if you actually worked hard and you were wise and you kept your stuff clean and you helped clean up around the house? Not only would then you be ready to hang out with your friends, but then when your friends came over, it'd be a lot nicer for them, right? So there's a lot of things we can do that pays off from working hard. And King Solomon, he recognized that the hard work of ants could help us if we learned a lesson from that. And what's cool is we were all created in God's image. See that we have Proverbs and we have the Bible, and in that Bible it tells us we're made in God's image, and that he makes us creatively, he makes us strong and capable of working hard. And when we learn about that more and more, we can then be encouraged and excited to get through working hard. And what's even better is when we learn, like when you guys come here and learn about Jesus in Kid City every week, the more and more we learn about Jesus and the way God worked in and through people, we can be encouraged because Jesus shows us how to work hard. Because see, Jesus came down from heaven to earth and worked really hard at a lot of things that we weren't capable of doing. But through that, he taught us how to do things better. He showed us how to do things with love. We could work hard with love. We could work hard with community, just like the ants. Remember all those ants? We can work with other people. And also we can look and see that because Jesus is with us, that we can always work hard with Jesus, that we have God by our side. So there are so many amazing, encouraging things of why we know we can work hard. So remember, let's not be afraid to work hard. Let's pray. Dear God, I thank you for today. I thank you for the story today, that we could realize that it might feel tough to work hard, but it's worth working hard. And there's right ways we could go about doing that. Thank you for even the ants, and we can see how they work so it can encourage us to work hard. Jesus, we thank you for showing us how to work hard. In Jesus' name, amen.
An awesome lesson. We are called to work hard. Thank you, Ryan, for teaching us that today. And guys, I hope that you apply that this week. Do extra things around the house. Work hard to show others about Jesus and tell them about Jesus. All right, before we go, remember, check that parent queue. And this is the first week I get to announce this, and I'm so excited. We have a new Kid Cities playlist on Spotify. The link is in your parent queue, and it is going to take you to all the songs that kids are used to rocking out to here in Kid City. It's so great. So make sure, parents, that you get on there, check that out, worship all week long. Speaking of worship, why don't you stand up and we are going to worship together to this month's song. I'll see you next week, guys.
You never turn away, you never leave my side. And every time I call your name out just to find that you're already right here with me, never been alone. I can trust you with my heart, 'cause this I know, you are all trust you with my heart. Whoa, I will trust you with my heart. There are days when I feel I need a friend, and then I hear your voice reminding me again that you're already right here with me, never been alone. I can trust you with my heart, 'cause this I know. You are always faithful, you love me from the start. No matter what I'm facing, I will trust you with my heart. You are more than able to lead me through the dark. Your love is never failing, I will trust you with my heart. Whoa, I will trust you with my heart. No matter what may come, no matter what I go through, God, you are never gonna fail me. I will trust you with my heart. No matter what may come, no matter what I go through, God, you are never gonna fail me. I will trust you with my heart. You are always faithful, you love me from the start. No matter what I'm facing, I will trust you with my heart. Yeah. You are more than able to lead me through the dark. Your love is never failing, I will trust you with my heart. Whoa, I will trust you with my heart. Whoa, I will trust you with my heart. Whoa, I will trust you with my heart.